All right, welcome to another episode of LogiCast. My name is BlankaKong, joined by Gunner Eos and Huddle Wolf. This week's topic is going to be a recap about some of the games that we're excited that have been recently revealed or announced over the last, E3 like weekend. I think it's called Summer Games Fest now or whatever. E3, you guys already know what's up. So we got stuff from Nintendo, we have stuff from Xbox. PlayStation, Ubisoft did some stuff, but I ain't gonna talk a lot about Ubisoft because I don't care. But they had a show, so if you want to watch it, it's like 30 minutes long. Go for it. I will link all of that in the description down below. So if you want to watch those shows, or if you want article breakdowns of what they revealed with the trailers already kind of pre-cut, that'll all be available for you in the description. So check that out if you want to look at that stuff. If you want to if you hear us talk about a game, you want to see about it yourself, then those links will be provided to you down below. So, I guess we could do one game at a time and then pass it along. I guess we'll do that.
Yeah,
I guess we'll
work.
do that. So we'll do an easy one, huh? So PlayStation showcased the second trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds. This is the trailer that showcased Dojugama, the bear-like monster, as well as the snake-like sandworm monster, as well as the flagship at the end. Where do I start? So Monster Hunter Wilds looks fantastic. If you like Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter World Iceborne, this game is right up your alley. You're going to love this game because it's everything that those games provided, plus a lot more, I think. The new monsters look fine. I'm not jazzed about their designs. They look kind of toned down to what I'm used to from Monster Hunter.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They look
They
normal.
look like normal. Yeah, they look like things that could probably exist in real life. And Monster Hunter is usually very outlandish with their designs. Usually, with the exception of the flagship. The flagship looks like a weird dragon Zenogre. We didn't get a good look at it, but he definitely has Zenogre horns, and he has lightning powers and stuff. He looks pretty crazy, but the other two monsters looked still horrific, but just kind of I don't want to use the word bland, but kind of bland compared to what I've seen in past Monster Hunter games. So I don't know, but excuse me. The game looks great. I'm gonna buy it day one. That's not even a question. Even if I have to sell blood, I will do it to buy Monster Hunter. It's a must-have for me. So, what did you guys think about the trailer? And once we're done talking about Monster Hunter, we can move on to the next game.
So to be completely transparent, I didn't see the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Because it's I don't want to see something. It's man, I really want to play that, and then I look at the launch date, and it's 2025.
I hear you.
Right. So I didn't see it. I know it's not smart to come into a podcast not having seen it, but
That's okay.
we're talking about
That's
other
all right.
stuff that I have
Yeah.
seen. So, no, I'm cool. I mean, I think I asked Kong on another occasion if they showed any new weapons. He said no new weapons. I'm already sold with carrying 2 weapons on your raptor dude. I think that's cool. So my only comment about the bland or normal looking monsters, I feel like World did that. Way back, they showed Anjanath, which was kind of like a T-Rex with frills and a sinus problem. And what was not Ludroth, but the thing that kind of was Ludroth until they added him. His thing was he would eat a Aptonoth whole.
Oh,
and
the Great
get
Jaguars.
Yes, the Great Jaguar. That's just like a lizard. That can eat that has the ability of a snake that can eat their prey whole. So I think what they're kind of doing is the same playbook from World, where they kind of show normal monsters. And then once we're in the game, you'll start seeing the dragons that shoot Kamehameha Wave, or the wolf that pulls out a gun, wild shit like that. You'll start seeing that. So I think it's, while they might look bland as just a big hairy bear-like thing, I think they just don't want to show their hand too early in regards to that. So that's my take.
Okay.
That's what I'm honestly hoping for. I'm hoping for something like that, like they're just playing safe, to keep the mystery of, Monster Hunter. Because one of the biggest things for me about Monster Hunter is always knowing what the next monster is, right? Like it's not just the replayability of building your armor or building your weapons to become stronger to fight Rathalos over and over again. But it's also to see what is beyond Rathalos, what is beyond the Gravios, what is beyond the next monster that, the game throws at you. So I do hope that's the logic they're going with, because I'm not gonna lie, even as a great sword user, those monsters are like, especially the bear is just, for me, it's one big target.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't played the game yet, so I don't know what the mechanic is. And maybe that bear is extremely agile. Maybe that bear's skin is extremely tough. But I can imagine being a great sword user, which is one of the weapons with the longest reach in Monster Hunter games usually. It's a lot of weak points. So that means that it's a lot of damage, which means for me, the monster dies fairly fast. Um, it's one of the things, it's like why I didn't find Gameth is his name, from the one with the 4
Uh,
flagships.
yeah, the big woolly mammoth. Gammoth.
Right, Gameth. Right. This is why I did not find him to be a very interesting monster at all.
It's why he
Um,
has yet to make a return, so you're probably not alone.
so I'm hoping that like what Gunnar said, they're just trying to elude you from the more dynamic bosses that we'll come across. Other than that, my jaw dropped when the dude with the great sword jumped on his little whatever 4-legged creature that is, and then he pulled out a gun and started shooting. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing
Yeah.
when I play that game. That's for damn sure. And it looks like the creature can hold the weapon for you, so you can demount them with the weapon that you switch out to. Maybe I just watched the trailer
No,
wrong, but that's what I could
that's
have
pretty
sworn I
much
saw.
the case.
Mm,
The mount creature will
mm.
hold your secondary for you.
Yeah, so to have 2 weapons in one fight, now, here's the thing. I personally, on contrary to the other 2 gentlemen on this podcast, I found Monster Hunter Rise to be a pretty enjoyable Monster Hunter game. I enjoyed Monster Hunter Rise as a hunter because I was allowed uh, leverage with my weapons. With this being said, now with the changing of weapons, or the ability to change your main weapon during a fight, would you think that it will still present itself in the same fashion because now you can adapt to how the monster changes? Or do you feel like the monsters will be a little bit, or are you hoping that the monsters will be a little bit harder, seeing as we have a new dynamic to work with, or a new advantage to work with as hunters?
So, for the record, while I think Rise is a weaker Monster Hunter game, in my opinion, compared to all the other ones that I've played, I still think it's a very competent game, and it's still a very good game. And I did enjoy my time with it. I just was disappointed with
Mm,
what the game ended up becoming, and it was more of like
mm,
my biggest point of contention with Rise Sunbreak Slash is the feel. It felt like I was too strong. I felt like I was steamrolling. And
mhm,
the only way that they could challenge
mhm,
me is by making monsters have a ton of HP and making them kind of like cheap to the point where I had to use things like counters in order to. And it felt like I was playing
mhm,
a
Yeah.
different game, and it wasn't like
mhm,
Monster Hunter, where it's like slower combat. Things have weight to it. Every decision, every potion you drink, every time you sheath or unsheath a weapon, like all of those can be
mhm.
critical decisions in the middle of a hunt. And in Rise, it felt like there was a lot of safety nets put in place to where, you know, if you fuck up, then
I
you can
understand
like
that.
you could zip,
Mm,
not zip tie. You could wire bug away, or you have like this counter that you
mm,
could just go into and like you'll likely get it. You'll likely, you know, evade any damage and counterattack the monster and knock him over. So I was like, that's cool, but like, this is not why I play Monster Hunter. This is not why I like the game. So it just, I think, even with the added advantage of having 2 weapons in one hunt, I think if it still plays like World as far as its weight and its pacing and tempo, it's gonna be fine, because all that is me allowing me to have a better matchup mid fight, instead of me coming into a new hunt with the second set of weapons or whatever, or going to the camp, changing my loadout to come back to the fight or whatever, like we had to do with Elatrion, for example. This time I could do it on the fly, and it's super fast. Like if I feel like, you know what, I need to cut that tail. The guy who's playing longsword is not cutting the tail. Let me put on longsword myself and get the job done. I could do that in an instant, right? So even though that's an advantage, I don't think it's going to break the game. Like counters and wirebugs broke Monster Hunter Rise for me.
Yeah, because I doubt it's gonna. Well, I don't know, but it'd be very, very game breaking if when I pulled out. I start as light bowgun, and then I pull out a sword and shield. I can access a whole new armor set. From the looks of it, it just looked like you can access a secondary weapon. So you still have to make that weapon choice, those 2 weapon choices, jive with your build, because it'd be really weird if I start as a bowgunner and then switch to sword and shield, but still have like normal shot up and spare shot.
Yeah. As Kong was talking, that started to like play in my head. Like, okay, so cause like the hunter in the trailer, he went from Blade Master to Gunner. So it was like, okay, well, are they going to like start to combine the skills to where they're more like hybrid skills, or are they going to overall
that'd be interesting, if there's like Blade Master / the gunner equivalent of Blade Master, or not Blade Master, Handicraft, and the gunner equivalent of Handicraft.
I think it'll be simpler than that. I think you'll have a loadout, like an armor loadout, and you have to build 2 iterations of that armor loadout as far as how you do your decorations and stuff, and you'll swap between the 2 loadouts as you switch weapons. I assume that's how.
On the fly like that? That'd be.
An interesting thing would be, because this is something that they've explored a little bit before, but not really dive into, is if the weapon itself has its own skills.
It's possible.
So, like, your great sword will have Blade Master skills that you can equip to it, and then your gun will have gun skills that you can equip to it. It's
presumed
but your armor itself,
like the great when he used the great sword as a shield and he put it in the monster's mouth and held him back, that's presumed to be like a weapon skill that you can equip or change, kind of like how Rise had weapon skills, which I didn't think was a bad thing. I liked the weapon skills in Rise. That was one of the things they did well. They might do that in this game, and I think the bowgun had like this weird antenna explosive thing.
In the thumbnail, I'm looking at it now. It's like a mortar shot, but it's like a weird projectile thing that probably has a cooldown, but it's not tied to any armor skill or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's its own weapon skill. So yeah, I could see that.
So I think that's one of the things that, like, that one little scene alone opened up so much possibilities in my head. But yeah, the game looks, it's Monster Hunter. I'm there day one, much like Kong.
It's one of the few games that it's like, I got faith in you.
Yeah,
you gotta don't ever hurt me, because it'll be bad. It's like a bad breakup.
Really bad. Right. You know, it's like falling in love with that one chick, and it's like you put all your devotion into her, and
and then she's like, dude, the whole
football
team been around her. It's like,
guy.
Hey, you know, we're equal opportunity. We're non-judgmental.
And anything in between.
Right. Okay, so let me change my comment and say that person. It's like
there
that person
or thing
that
could
you
be a thing.
Fall in love with. All right, you see your all right. It's whatever you fall in love with. And it turns around and hurts you, okay? It's one of those things. It's like, for us, Monster Hunter, it's like that one thing we can always rely on, that one video game we can always rely on.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna get 300 hours minimum on
Oh,
this
yeah.
game, guaranteed. More
Mhm.
if I'm really into it and we're all
Yeah,
like
dude,
really
I
into
shit
it.
on Rise and I have like 350 hours in that game.
Say I think I have like 200
So
something. So it's like, bro, you shit on the game yet you put, you know, all this time
Because
into it.
it's
It's like,
the thing is that when you compare Rise to the other games, regardless of their genre or style, Rise is one of the better games you could have bought that year.
not
But
wrong.
when you compare Rise to other Monster Hunter titles, to its predecessors, then that's when the real debate comes in of whether how good Rise really is or how good Rise really isn't. But the year that Rise came out, I have absolutely zero regret
oh
spending my money on that
no, yeah.
game versus another AAA game.
Oh yeah, that $60 was it. It paid
Well,
for itself.
I spent a
Extremely
lot
good.
more than
Yeah.
$60, but I digress. We can move on because I bought the Monster Hunter
Yeah.
Switch console and 2 collector's editions and all the
Oh
amiibos.
hey,
So I spent
I'm that way with
spent
Zelda.
everything.
So
Anyway,
I can't.
Yeah, yeah. Not this is a judge-free zone when it comes to Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's like
so
Anyhow,
who
what's the
wants to
next
go
game?
next? I started with Monster Hunter. One of you guys can talk about something you're excited about that came out or that was announced recently.
let me see. Okay, so here's one I'm excited about. This was debuted pretty recently on the Nintendo Direct. It's a game from Square Enix, the once prestigious
Oh, Fairy
JRPG
Tail 2?
studio. No, I mean it's a decent anime. I'm not into it,
I'm
but
just
no.
kidding. Go ahead.
My pick is okay. Japanese. Oh, that's the director. Phantasm Neo Dimension. I know it's weird because I can't make anything straight. But for context, it's done by the creator of Final Fantasy, and I believe also one of the main composers in terms of music. The reason why I'm interested in this is in a world full of action RPGs. Final Fantasy VII's an action RPG. 16's an action RPG. It seems like that's kind of where we're going. This one is taking it back to a turn-taking style game. But more importantly, really, the reason I kind of got hyped for this more than normally, it's finally a brand new IP from Square Enix. For a long time, Square Enix has been riding that Final Fantasy to the wheels fall off, or near to the wheels fall off. And to see a game that looks like a double A game, it's not overly produced like 16 or Forspoken or 7 Remake. The graphics, you're going to have someone on the internet says this looks like a PlayStation 3 game. Whatever, sure, because PlayStation 3 had such bad games, idiot.
Damn.
But it's like, I hate that thing because like that they people say that like it's an insult. It's like, yeah, sure, the PlayStation 3 wasn't it ain't no PS2, but that's some good games. So, sorry, graphics man. But anyway, that's why I'm hyped for this game. It's a turn-taking RPG. We don't really see a lot of those anymore, and it's a new IP. Like, I think the studios need to do this. I know they're all businesses at the end of the day, but like, take chances with new IPs. If that means you have a smaller budget and the game doesn't look as pretty, most people are going to look at your gameplay over your graphics. It's been proven time and time again, pretty graphic does not translate to massive sales. So, with that being said, I'm hoping this turns out good. The gameplay footage they showed seemed pretty promising. It's like I said, it's a turn-taking style of game. But if you want to, the main gimmick is they have placements of spells and attacks. So if you manipulate the character and the camera, you can hit multiple targets and gain damage bonuses. So they're kind of trying something new with turn taking to spice it up a bit. So Phantasm Neo Dimensions, I will more than likely be getting it on the Switch. I don't know if it's exclusive to the Switch. I'm pretty sure it's not. But the Switch is my JRPG machine, and I'm gonna get it for that. So that's my first pick.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not gonna lie. I do like my turn-based RPGs. So that does stand out to me as well, um, for a new IP coming from Square Enix, and I'm glad that they took that risk to try something different instead of recycling Cloud and his ever so tiresome journey. Um, so yeah, that's
Yeah.
something I would look out for myself. I honestly feel like turn-based RPGs are so, how can I put it? They're so pure in what
Ah,
they
they really
are.
are. Yeah.
It's like, even though they can be slow at times, or even though they are slower tempos than, these action RPGs that are coming out, it's still just like this. They're like these just unforgettable gems.
And there are things you could do to spice them up. Bravely Default did it with the whole Brave and Default system. This game looks like it's doing it. You can spice it up to make it. I don't consider it boring. I, I'm playing SMT5 Vengeance right now, and that is straight up turn-based. I go, they go. I go, they go.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, but I know I have to be a little bit open-minded. I know somebody that doesn't love that style of game will see that. I'm like, bro, this is boring. You're just like, it's like tit for tat all day long. So, I'm glad they're doing something different, and I just hope this game succeeds so Square Enix realizes leave 7 and where it is and leave 2B where she is. Make new things. Please. For the love of God.
For the love of God,
this
make
game,
new
like, I'm
things.
not big on RPGs or anything like that, but I've played a few, and like what I like about this, at least from what I see in the trailer, is like the way you could curve your magic to hit multiple targets.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I don't think I've ever seen that before, so pretty dope.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's pretty cool. So I've never seen that before in my life, and usually the most common kind of mechanic is like controlling turn-based order.
Yeah.
That's the most common kind of mechanics for these things. But to be able to curve your magic, that's pretty different.
All right, Wolf. So what's a
So
game
yeah,
that you're excited about?
come on, you guys know what I'm gonna
Fable.
mention.
Let's go. I want to hear the breakdown, top to bottom. Let's
I'm
go.
sorry, what? What?
Fable.
Who?
Fable. With the female protagonist, Fable. I know you hype about that.
The fuck? What is
Fable.
that? Wait, I know what Fable is, but they redoing Fable?
Yeah.
It's just a new entry.
There's a new entry, yeah, and it looks terrible. Well, it doesn't look. It doesn't.
Boy.
It's very cinematic, which doesn't appeal to me at all. And the main character is a girl, which would be fine, but like I don't know. I'm getting the as the kids say, I'm getting the vibe that it's like a boss babe kind of thing, and not so much a genuine female protagonist. But like whatever. It's a thing. People are excited about it. I don't care about it. That's
Right.
fine. I know you're excited
I'm
about
gonna
Fable,
talk
so I'll
about
let you
a
talk
good game.
about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about a good game,
Fragpunk.
and I want to mention it before one of you guys mention it.
Fragpunk.
My baby Metroid Prime is back.
Oh yeah, it exists.
It's
It's
real.
real.
It's
Real.
real. Oh my gosh. When Esoteric texted me the trailer, I was like, literally, my first response to him was, don't fuck with my soul. Is this shit real? Because AI technology is legit
Yeah.
these days. Don't tell me that this shit is like I took a deep breath, and it took me 15 minutes to gather myself before I watched the trailer for Metroid Prime
You have to
4.
do some foreplay.
You guys have you guys, you guys have no idea. No idea. I'm so happy. Like, Metroid Prime series is easily one of the I call me biased, call me whatever. I don't care what you want to call me. It is easily the best, one of the best first-person shooter games that I've ever played in my entire life, and I didn't need a multiplayer mode. I didn't need online mode. I didn't need customizations. I didn't need character designs. I didn't need no wokeness. I didn't need none of that shit. I got the best of what the GameCube could offer in the Metroid Prime series. Literally, I'm talking systematically, I'm talking gameplay wise, I'm talking story wise. Like Nintendo did it. Like I love The Legend of Zelda. It is by far my favorite franchise that Nintendo has ever pushed out. Period. But I still feel that the Metroid Prime series collectively is more of a gem than the Legend of Zelda games that came out on the GameCube. I may get burned for this,
Ooh.
but I
Ooh,
do
okay.
feel so. I really do feel so because I've had my fair share of Zelda games. They're pretty much they're the same but different. I believe Vicious had said that, or Dog Zeta has said that a long time ago, and that stuck with me. The Zelda games are the same, but they are different. With the Metroid game, Metroid Prime took Samus Aran's side-scrolling adventure or side-scrolling mechanics and turned it into a first-person shooter game, and it worked. Like it shows that that Metroid can work as a side-scroller and it can work as a first-person shooter. It just shows that how deep that Metroid or how diverse that Samus's story can be. It like I can't even put it into words on how Metroid Prime was so different from the older Metroid games and even the most current Metroid game, Metroid Dread, because that's a side scroll game too.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, when I bought, because I rebought Metroid Prime for the Switch, I know I'm playing Metroid. I know I'm playing as Samus Aran. I know I've been through this adventure already. But when I compared it to Dread, it's like it's the same title, but it feels so different. It feels new. It feels refreshing. Like Metroid Prime series is just one of those games that you have to have if you own any kind of Nintendo console. If you own the GameCube, you had to have it. You had to have it. Like I can see a GameCube owner skipping Twilight Princess, but I will never advise a GameCube owner to skip the Metroid Prime series. That is always on the top of my list. Like when if someone was to come to me and say, "Hey, I have a GameCube for whatever reason in this day and age, I'm looking for games to play," the first game that's coming out of my mouth is Metroid Prime. Not Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, not Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, not Pokemon Coliseum, and these are franchises that I die for. Metroid Prime. It's it's a phenomenal game. They upheld it from 1 to 2 to 3. Yes, as the sequels came, they got a little bit weaker because, it's hard to keep up with the original.
Mm.
Usually that's just the
Yeah.
way it works. Um but Metroid Prime 4, I'm looking at the trailer and I'm saying to myself, this feels like Metroid. Like from what I watch, it's like this is Metroid Prime. It's nothing crazy that's happening. She's not gliding all over the place or jumping all over the walls. No, this is Metroid Prime. And then on top of that, at the end of the trailer, they introduce one of the hunters from the 3DS version, Silux, and I'm like, so you mean to tell me that there's a potential chance that the other hunters from Metroid Prime Hunters could be in this game? Yeah,
See, that's that deep
yo,
lore. Because I was like, "Yo, check out that alien. He looks
yo,
menacing."
yo, like I was like I was like a little fangirl at a concert, and Metroid Prime is the muscular, handsome dude that took his shirt off and threw it at me. That's how I was for Metroid
Took off your
Prime.
bra and just threw it at the phone.
Just threw it at the phone. Like you guys have no idea how much of even when they announced Metroid Dread, I was hoping it would be in the style of Metroid Prime or Metroid Prime 4. I'm happy with Dread. I think Dread is a phenomenal, wonderful, amazing game, as usual when it comes to the Metroid games. But Metroid Prime it's a special heart. It's a special place in my heart. It's a special place in my heart. And to see that actually now coming out with a fourth one, and they're sticking to what it seems like they're sticking to what the design of the original one was. Nothing new, crazy, but yet revamped and hopefully fit for what today age shooters should be. I couldn't ask for anything better. Like, I've had a pretty shitty few years, and especially when it came to gaming, like a lot of my franchises that came out has been disappointing. Um, Not much games to really buy on my consoles, but this is the first time in a very, 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 very long time where it's like I'm literally jumping out of my seat since the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess release trailer. Yeah. Yeah. I can sit here all night and gush.
I mean, yeah.
What more can be said? I mean, I plan to buy the game for sure. I did buy the Metroid Prime remaster, and I haven't played it yet, but I plan to dive in. And I hope that they re-release the second and third ones, Corruption, and I forget the second one. Echoes? Was it Echoes? Echo.
Yep.
I hope that they re-release those because GameCube.
I have a feeling they
I feel like why wouldn't
not
they?
Till 2025.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be late 2025. So, yeah, we'll see. And I didn't want to interrupt Wolf during his gushing because I get it. But like when he was talking about how the game went from 2D to 3D in like this seamless, perfect way is like the word that came to mind was design versatility. Like that's a game or a franchise that can just kind of morph into almost anything and work. And not many there's not many games that can do that or that have done that successfully. So yeah, it's yeah. So you can't see me, but I'm holding up a imaginary glass. So congratulations to Metroid fans. You guys are finally getting your Prime 4.
Yeah, I know.
And it looks pretty cool based off the little bit that we saw.
People were scared, man, because when they said we're scrapping development of what was Metroid Prime 4 way back in the day, and we're starting over, people were like, "Oh, this game is never gonna release, or it's gonna be bad or something." I was skeptical. Like you don't really come back from starting. It's very hard, I should say, to come back from starting an entire project over again from scratch, and it looks like they did it. Like it looks like they did it.
I was confident that they were going to pull it off. I mean, the fact that Nintendo, that is, recognized that whatever they were looking at wasn't up to snuff, and they made the decision, you know what? You guys are out. We're going to put this in the hands of an in-house studio, and we're going to make sure we do it right. I was like, wow, that's... wow.
Not a lot. People were
a
like,
lot of companies would have
released
released that shit and be like, well, let the chips fall where they may, and we'll start again, in a year, and we'll see what we can do with it.
Add a battle pass to it. They'll be all right.
Yeah, so...
Right. Yeah. So one of my biggest hopes is, again, because I know me and Kong, we went to high school together, and we had a blast playing Metroid.
Oh, dude, if they brought that back and remastered it on Switch, holy shit. That would be incredible.
Or if this game has the
other
hunters again,
there?
where there is the multiplayer aspect.
Jesus.
I'm telling you, Gunnar, you will have a blast with it. Because I know you already love first-person type shooter games, but Metroid Prime Hunters, we skipped how many classes per day?
Dude, we skipped like an entire day's worth of classes a few times. Just playing that in the art room. That game was a lot of fun.
Just playing
on
that.
DS of all things, which is not exactly intuitive controls, but we got past the control barriers to play the game because it was that much fun.
It was fun.
I mean, I'm down. I've been looking for a FPS to play. I'm not going to mention it because I guess I'll mention it briefly. I was interested in the new Call of Duty. That ship left the port and was immediately torpedoed. So if Nintendo decides to do that with Metroid, hey, I'm down. I enjoyed the way Prime remake played, I was like, wow, okay, now I see what people were talking about. Because what Wolf said, I was there. I was with the Twilight Princess, and I was with my 30th playthrough of Wind Waker. So I didn't know about the Prime series until, I met Wolf and he talked about it. And then by then the GameCube was old and it was hard to find these games. Even back then, now it's like $200, please. So the fact that Nintendo's coming back with it, and I do hope they release the other two games so we can have the
Yeah.
Quintrilogy? Yeah. Well, however you say it. Yeah, I'm down. So Metroid's been doing good. I'm glad to see it's still with us.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4, 2025. 2025 is going to be a fucking massive year. Holy shit. It's going to be a massive year.
It really is.
So anyway, the game I'm excited for is a new IP. Should I do a twofer? I guess I'll do a twofer, because, just to get them out the way. So, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers looks like a Sekiro-style samurai game.
That's the game with the ninja chick,
yeah,
right?
She's like a ninja girl. She has like a fucked up arm, like a demon arm or something, and she's fighting like crazy demonic creatures and stuff. And it looks like very Souls combat, but she had like different weapons and stuff. That game is supposed to be Xbox exclusive, so that's coming out in 2025. And then the other game, just because it's right under it, is another Xbox exclusive game called Avowed, which is basically going to be Elder Scrolls Skyrim-like. Gameplay is going to be a first-person fantasy, high fantasy adventure. So I'm looking forward to that, because that will basically be my Elder Scrolls game, because I don't trust today's Bethesda to make a Elder Scrolls game.
God wouldn't lead you astray.
Yeah, well, he sure will, because Starfield is the example of that. So so Avowed and Wu Chang are two games I'm looking forward to. These were showcased in the Xbox show. So I know you guys probably don't have much to say about those games. Those games are kind of out of your guys' interest scope, but I wanted to throw them in there before I forgot about them.
So, is these games going to be Xbox specifically, or
I think so. There might be timed exclusive. So they might be out for like the first year and then eventually make their way to PlayStation. But as of right now, according to like the wikis, both games are going to be PC and Xbox for like the launch window. So I don't know if they'll make their way eventually to PlayStation. I hope so. And given that Xbox and Microsoft have been a little more like, we need to make more sales off each game that we publish, I'm pretty sure they're going to make their way to PlayStation eventually, just because it would make perfect sense for them just to make the sales that they can off of such a large user base like PS4 and PS5. So, but as of right now, it looks to be Xbox and PC exclusive. So for both games.
Okay. Well, I did see I just finished watching the trailer for Avowed, but I know I've already seen the trailer for Wu Chang. I don't think, personally, I don't feel like either one looks bad. The Wu Chang one, it was really just, I believe it was just a girl fighting some kind of spider-like monster on a pile of bodies or something like that. If I remember it right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But if it's going to be another, if it is like another, what you call it, the Souls-like mechanics.
It seems to be that way. I don't know that for sure, but based on what I did see, it seemed like Sekiro combat. So.
I personally will not just rule out a game just because they say it's Souls-like, because it seems like when it comes to advertising, when people write about video games, they always compare it to Souls if it's a action game nowadays.
True.
Like, for instance, they compared, again, I've mentioned this a few times, to Star Wars. The two current Star Wars games has been mentioned as Souls-like games, and honestly, I don't see the connection there, personally. I
think any game that's third-person action adventure and has semi-challenging combat is immediately compared to Souls games.
And I don't think that's fair
It's not fair.
to any kind of video game, right? So the Wu Chang does look more interesting to me than the other one, but the Avowed does look pretty cool in terms of like exploration and the magic stuff. Because I saw him throw like he was doing like fire flamethrowers out of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a good time. I will never rule them out, but if I will not buy an Xbox for them. Now if they become available on other consoles like Steam or
Hey, bud, if you got a
the
PC
PlayStation
and you got Game
5.
Pass, you can play them.
You'll have them, yeah.
So,
Oh, I don't have a strong enough PC. I don't have a PC, so maybe I should get one.
all right. So, what's your game?
Mhm.
What's your next game, Gunner?
All right. Well, keeping it back to or taking it back to franchises that I grew up with and I love. I'm not jumping out of my seat like Wolf was. I get that. That's a special case. But for me, I'm pretty hyped for the new Zelda game coming out. Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Our favorite damsel in distress, according to certain people. You know, the helpless woman who can't do anything but fight Ganondorf for 100 years solo. Yeah, she gets a solo. She gets a game now. I'm not counting the fucking CDI game. I don't care what seal is on it. It is not no. So Zelda's first appearance, to me anyway, as the titular playable character is Echoes of Wisdom.
Yes, I agree.
Right. Okay. There you go. Sensible people. So no, this looks very interesting. Like it looks like it takes place immediately after the end of Link's Awakening, the remake of the the remake of the Game Boy game. So because it has the same art style. So after Link beats Big Bad Ganon, he gets pulled into some weird shadow world, but pre-Zelda beforehand, and now it's up to Zelda to basically save Hyrule and get Link back. And they could have done it very, very safe, in my opinion. They could have given us the same gameplay, but they gave Zelda a sword. And they didn't do that. So the whole shtick for this one is Zelda uses a wand that she gets from a new original character, a new fairy, and she can make copies of monsters and objects that she runs into in the real world. So in the trailer, they showed her making tables into a staircase to allow her to climb up to a second level. They showed her commanding an enemy to use as to fight with. So she kind of reminds me how Zelda played in Smash Brothers Ultimate, where Zelda wouldn't necessarily fight, but she would use the armor that she possessed in Spirit Track in order to do combos for her. So it kind of feels like that. Me personally, I'm just happy to go back to traditional Zelda because I'm gonna be that guy. I've played a lot of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I am come to the conclusion, and I am comfortable with this conclusion, that I do not like that style of Zelda. I am not a fan of the open world, do what you want, at your leisure type Zelda games. I'm a fan of the very linear. I know some people don't like that word. It's a bad word to some people. I like the tailored experience where you start here, you go through these dungeons, you build up a small arsenal of gadgets, and then it culminates in you using that knowledge that you've acquired from all the dungeons you've done to fight the big bad, usually Ganon, in the older games. Now, will this one have gadgets? It doesn't really show. I think it's going to use mostly the item creation, I want to call it, for lack of a better word, that Zelda gets. But personally, I'm glad we're returning to a more traditional Zelda-style game. And this is kind of validating what I was thinking, that there may be two styles of Zelda game now, where we have the Breath of the Wild, big, bombastic, open world experience. And then on the side, we have the more smaller scaled traditional style Zelda. I can live in a world like that because if I'm not feeling the open world game, I know if I just wait a bit, I'll get a traditional Zelda. So, just to wrap it all up, I'm down for Echoes of Wisdom. Cool that Zelda's getting more limelight and she's, she's got her own game and it's made by competent people, not some Panasonic company. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I'm down. I probably won't be getting the Switch. I already own too many Switches as is, and um, times is tough. So I can't really drop money on a Switch. But this is no surprise if you know Zelda, you know Nintendo. It was a given there'd be a limited edition system. Cool. It looks cool. Maybe I'll catch it in, some retail third party store for like $300 and maybe I'll be rich then and I can buy it. I don't know. But yeah, Zelda. With Zelda, playable, down, gonna buy it. That's my spiel. Thank you for coming.
It is good to see that there's a Zelda game where I guess they're taking Zelda as the main protagonist. I have no negative remarks to her being the main character or being the playable character in this game. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm happy it's a breath of fresh air." No, I'm not gonna say that. But it's cool that they did it. For me, it's like it's Zelda, so I know what to expect. I expect a competent, well-rounded, grounded video game that I can say at the end as the credits roll, "Huh, I'm actually happy I bought this."
Yeah.
And that's how I feel that's how I feel even about the two most recent Zelda titles. That is the newer style, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're good Zelda games, but I also agree with you in the sense of where it's like, it's not for me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I loaded my Switch up the other day, and to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, it was the top 3 games that I was eager to play was to get back into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because I wanted the competition side of it. And I also know that they got DLC and stuff. The next game was the Persona game. Not Persona, Shin Megami Tensei,
Oh.
and Metroid Prime. And those were the 3 that I was like, okay, I'm loading up the Switch. I really want to play this. And then something got in the way and I couldn't do it at all. But yeah, like the Kingdom, I don't have any specific gripe that I care to indulge in. It's just again, like you, I've grown comfortable with the fact that it's just not a Zelda game that for me is like a must play, must beat. I own it, and to be honest, I only have like 10 hours. Lies. I have like 10 minutes in the game. I didn't really get much in it, and that was it. So yeah, for me, like I said again, Zelda franchise is still my favorite franchise of all, but there are just some Zelda games or just newer games coming out or different games coming out that I'm more interested in playing at this moment.
I get that. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am not a Zelda fan like you guys are, but I'm really excited to play this game because it looks very just like open-minded and different. Like you can approach things however you want. Like she uses she's fighting like an enemy with a sword and she summons a rock to repel the attack, and the guy like recoils and she picks up the rock and slams him, and then she takes his soul and now he's a thing she can summon. I was like, that's fucking cool. And she does another thing where there are crows and she summons a piece of meat and the crows go and they're distracted, and then she summons a giant plant monster and the plant monster does her bidding for her. I was like, this game is fucking amazing. And then there's like the puzzle aspects where she's like summoning tables and chairs and beds to like platform her way up to inaccessible places, and summoning a fucking potted plant.
You got to throw the living room.
I was like, this game is super. I love this shit. So I'm gonna have a blast just like figuring out how I'm gonna platform and get to like areas I'm probably not supposed to get to, and like figuring out what enemies I'm gonna use how, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun just fucking around with this game. So I'm really excited to play
That's
this.
what's up.
And I think you're right, Gunnar, in saying that like there's gonna be two styles of gameplay, just like with Monster Hunter, there's gonna be the Rise team and the World team. Here with Zelda, it's gonna be traditional Zelda and Breath of the Wild style Zelda, and both, both camps will have their game. So
Yeah.
that's it. I'm. It's a day one buy for me. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with this, because I'll be honest with you, if this was just like another Zelda, like another just traditional Zelda game, I probably would be less excited for it, because it's like, okay, I already know like what that entails. This looks like an entirely new experience. So, yeah. So,
That's
Wolf,
what's up.
what is another game you're excited for?
So I'm not exactly 100% a fan of these games,
Lego Horizon
but
Adventures?
okay, you keep throwing these random things that I don't even know exist. Um, but I am excited in the simple fact of what can happen in the potential future. And for me, it was good to see the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection being released, is because X-Men, especially with X-Men 97, they're making a comeback. I think in the Marvel fan base, with like even Deadpool introducing or reintroducing Wolverine, and I believe Marvel is now picking up mutants, or Disney's picking up mutants to be in the Marvel movies.
Yeah, the
I
X-Men
think
is
that's a
planned
thing
to
they're
be.
doing now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm expecting to see classic X-Men characters. Um, and with the wonderful release of how X-Men 97 was, to continue on the 90s animation, I'm hoping that this is Capcom's attempt to revitalize the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise in terms of giving us a more, how can I put it, a more to the retro style of what Marvel vs. Capcom was, but with, newer characters, updated characters. So like, not Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite that we got, not that. But even though Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for me is the best Marvel vs. Capcom game that I've ever played, that's because of certain mechanics that was introduced that Marvel 2 just wasn't getting. But something more along the lines of like Marvel 2, Marvel 3 cross like ish. So I'm hoping we get something like that. But overall, a new fighting game, a new Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game that I can pick up, I can play, I can enjoy, because I enjoy both franchises. I enjoy both sides of the of Marvel and Capcom. So a new fighting game that I can finally be excited for, and I'm hoping that this is the game that Capcom is saying, okay, we're gonna tease you with this, we're gonna give you this, because we're building towards something bigger. That's why I'm excited about this release. I'm hoping that it's just like a door opener for something new.
So I'll be quick because as these guys know, and maybe you guys in the audience, fighting games aren't really my jam. I respect them. I love watching them. Competitive fighting games, I enjoy watching. It's like people enjoy watching baseball. So I like doing that. But I think Wolf is right. We've talked about this in another podcast with Animusha and Darkstalkers. This is the test. Do people want to see another um, Marvel versus Capcom or something versus Capcom? I think it's Marvel. So hey, look, I would never tell someone you must buy it or you will never see a beloved franchise again, because that's just like that's hostage taking at this point. But if you want to see a Marvel game and you genuinely enjoy these games, yeah, pick it up because there's a bunch of them. It's like Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Isn't it
X-Men
Marvel
versus Street
There you
Fighter,
go. Yeah,
the Punisher.
and a
There's
random beat
about
'em up
7 of
game.
them. Yeah, the random
Well,
Punisher beat 'em
it's
up
not
game.
random. It's a part of the Marvel line of Capcom games, so that's why it's in there.
Mm.
Oh, it is made by Capcom.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's why.
or was is what is
It
what
was
is
created
yeah,
by
okay.
Capcom. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So a little less random now. But yeah, as far as my point goes, buy it. It's keeping Marvel, as they say. It's Marvel, baby. It's keeping it alive. So hey, I just think the cover art is fucking dope as shit. Like I would buy a shirt or a poster of that. Like with all the fucking shitty ass realism we have now, to see just a really cool drawn stylistic cover like that, I want that. Like put that on
Yeah,
something and I'll probably pick it
yeah,
up. But
yeah. That
yeah,
that cover
that's my
I
point.
made my screensaver at work.
I don't blame you. Like it's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's gorgeous. Now, I'll be quick on this one
Mm.
too. I love fighting games. I suck at them, but I do enjoy playing them, and I love watching them. This is going to be a day one buy for me, and if it's on PS4 as well, I'm going to double dip and get it on Switch and PS4. So I'll buy the game twice if it's available on multi-platform.
Hmm.
I'd rather buy this than have to buy X-Men vs. Street Fighter on PS1 for $100, or buy Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast for $200 or anything like that. So that's great. You're never gonna hear me complain about a port, especially for Switch. I'm excited for the possibility of more ports. So this could open the door to a potential port of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. This can open the door for a port of other versus games like Capcom versus SNK and the SNK versus Capcom games. We could see that, and with Terry Bogard and my being Street Fighter 6 DLC characters in the future, it seems more and more possible. So it's like, ooh, this is exciting. So I'm this is day one buy for me, 100%. Definitely excited for it. And then, of course, if this leads to a Marvel vs. Capcom 4, cool. Like, I'm buying that for sure. So, hell, this could even lead to a remaster of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So, that would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely excited for what this could potentially be, but also excited for what it is, which is finally a collection of the MVC games in one package with online play, with like extras like museum mode, and you can listen to all the great music that these games have on like a jukebox mode, which is like really cool. So this is what we want, Capcom. Just bring us, give us the old shit. We don't want no Exoprimal. We don't want you shut up there. This is what we really want. So hopefully everybody comes out and actually supports the project. I'm pretty sure it's going to do well. If any of their past projects, like the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection and the other fighting game collection, those did really well. So I don't see a reason why this wouldn't, considering what it is. MVC. It's like selling hotcakes, man. Free blowjobs. It's like, how is this not going to sell? So anyway, we're running out of time, so I'm going to quickly run through some of the other games that I'm looking forward to. I'm just going to kind of shoot them, and then you guys could do the same, and then we'll wrap up. So from Nintendo, this is random, but I'm probably going to buy it. Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. That game looks mad fun, so I'm buying that probably. Fromagia, which is like this weird monster tamer game, but you have to like grow your monsters like crops.
Yeah, they grew a wolf out of.
I was like, this shit is random as fuck, but I get to tame monsters, so like I'm interested. Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii is making a return on Switch, so that's going to be a day one buy for me, 110%. That's it from Switch for me, at least. Xbox, the game we didn't mention was Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm looking forward to that. And Silent Hill 2. I'm still on the fence on this one, but I might fold and get it when it comes out later this year. And that's it for games that I'm interested in. So you guys can like quick fire the other ones that we didn't mention. Honorable mentions.
Yes. Okay, so for me, real quickly, also Donkey Kong. Not the biggest platformer fan, but I like Donkey Kong enough. I'm gonna give it a try, and I never got to play uh, Donkey Kong Country Return, so cool. Dragon Quest HD 2D remake. There's also announced they're gonna do Dragon Quest 1 and 2, so we'll get 1, 2, and 3. I'm down. Dragon Quest, cool. Um, Darkest Dungeon 2. I'm not getting it on the Switch. I'm gonna get it on PlayStation 5, but that was PC for a while, and it's finally coming to consoles. Darkest Dungeon, great strategy roguelike RPG. Check it out. And as far as Xbox goes, this also isn't an Xbox exclusive. I definitely checked. Let me find it real quick. I should have had it. Expedition 33. It's like a weird hybrid of a turn-taking RPG with action RPG elements. Could be good, could be horrible. We'll see. And last but not least, they showed gameplay footage for Metal Gear Solid Alpha or Metal Gear Solid 3. It's Metal Gear Solid. It's Metal Gear Solid. Enough said. Done. That's my quick fire honorable mentions.
Wolf, do you have any?
Yeah, my quickfire honorable mentions pretty much all on one console. Romancing Saga, Revenge of the Seven. The only reason why that I'm really interested in it is because it's a turn-based strategy game. So I'm interested in seeing how that's gonna look when it actually comes out. Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. I'm sorry, we mentioned just this recently how Ace Attorney is one of the better games you can buy if you're a gamer. I'm looking forward to that.
Bro, I'll be chilling with the girls. I'm playing some Ace Attorney with them too.
I'm definitely down for Ace Attorney. Then there was the Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. The reason why for Metal Slug for me specifically is because it's always good to have that video game. You can just pick it up, you can play for 20 minutes, you can put it down, then you can pick it back up, play for another 20 minutes. A lot of these video games that are coming out now is time invested, whereas a game like Metal Slug, it's literally pick up, play, enjoy what little time you have on your console or your handheld mode, and jump into something else. Like I could definitely see myself loading up Metal Slug when I'm waiting on you guys to get online to play one of the multiplayer games that we play, or if I'm home and I'm waiting for the family to get ready to go somewhere, I can load it up, and I won't feel like I'm ever missing anything for just turning the game off or just putting it down. So for me, Metal Slug is a great pick 'em up play kind of game. So it's one of those things that I can see myself getting into. And then I don't know what Mario and Luigi Brothers is about, but I'm open-minded to it because, just to see what, something new, I guess.
What's the Mario Luigi
else?
RPG games on DS and 3DS?
Yeah.
It's just more of that.
Yeah.
It's just more of that. Okay, that's not bad then. Those weren't bad games. And then everything else on the other consoles, I would honestly leave it up to whether they're multiplayer, or if they're multiplayer, whether you guys jump on it, then I'll give it a shot. Because I'm always down to playing multiplayer games with the boys. So.
Oh, you forgot to mention the new Dempa Man. Thought you'd be into.
No, I really didn't.
Sure?
I didn't forget. No.
I recall you texting me like, "Yo, the new Dempa Man game is crazy." I was like, "What's that?"
I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Bro,
Again,
if you remember the 3DS games that were like the Street Pass games, it reminds me a lot of the Street Pass.
Yeah, it does. It's.
I don't even see it on the list.
It's right above Metal Slug. The new Dempa Man.
Okay, let me see. Hold on.
It's like Animal Crossing.
The new Dempa Man. Get out of here, man. Nah. What is that? No.
Anyway.
No. Although that Zelda Switch looks really nice.
It's a pretty Switch.
Yeah. It's a light too.
Yeah.
You got until September, so you got time. So that's our recap on the Summer Games Fest game reveals from the major 3 studios. We'll leave links in the description down below with all of the breakdowns of like the game trailers as well as the original streams, in case you want to sit and watch the original content of that, the original announcements. So that'll be available for you down below. In the description as well will be all of our social media links. So we have a presence on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. Mr. Esoteric, who wasn't present for the stream, is also on Twitch. So he streams 2 to 3 times a week. He streams all kinds of games, from party games to retro games to indie games to AAA. He plays everything. So maybe he'll play the new Dempa Man. I don't know. But definitely give him a follow and check out his stream when you get an opportunity. We do podcast episodes like this every week. We launch every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So subscribe so that you're notified when those episodes go live. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, dislike if you didn't. Let us know down below in the comment section what games you're excited for. Maybe we didn't mention something, right? There's like the new Luigi's Mansion game, right? We didn't mention that. Well, it's not new, but it's a re-release. That I know that's a big title. Phantom Zero.
That's why we didn't mention it.
Phantom Zero is another big PlayStation game that looks pretty interesting now that we've seen real gameplay. Maybe that's something you're excited for. Let us know down below. Anyways, with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next episode.